All right, Molly, let's go for a walk. I want to tell you the story of a strange situation I had over the years of a crew of guys that all worked together, but they came down sick with an asbestos related cancer at different times over many years. I've been doing these cases since 1988, and the first guy that I met was an electrician, and he worked at the DuPont plant in Washington Bottom, where they make Teflon or used to make Teflon. And he was an electrician. And during trial, he came up to me, and I was a paralegal. And he told me, Lee, I don't feel great. I'm going to the doctor. And lo and behold, it was an asbestos related cancer, mesothelioma. And then several years later, I'd been to law school. And what happened was we got a gentleman as a client, and I had to go meet, and he was the foreman of a crew of repair people out of DuPont Washington Works. And sure enough, he knew the prior guy. He was younger, but he knew him and remembered him. And then, he was diagnosed with mesothelioma. And it was really incredible because here we were, many years later, 5, 6, 10 years apart, and two different guys that knew and worked with each other at DuPont Washington Bottom, both were diagnosed with mesothelioma. And then, lo and behold, 3 years later, another member of the crew, one of the pipe fitters who worked at DuPont Washington Bottom, who worked in this facility, I got a chance to sit with him by the river in Parkersburg at his camp. And I come to find out that their shanty, where they spent their day, where their meetings were, whatever you want to call it, at work, was built out of asbestos boards. And they constantly were drilling into it, putting holes into it. The whole thing was built out of asbestos. And here it was, three guys who worked out of the same repair shanty constantly got sick. Then they'd go out into the plant and they were around the pumps, the generators, the electric pumps, the electric motors, the equipment, the pipe covering, the gaskets, the packings that were everywhere in that plant that made that plant work. But at the same time, it made all these guys sick years later. It's really an incredible thing because it was spread over 10, maybe even 15 years.